Here's the story of a girl named Romaine who drank moonshine and partied with the girls. She liked sex toys in her snatch and big old titties, and she said dirty words. Here's the story of old man Derek who watched TV and movies all day long. He would throw shade while eating pudding. He really loved the dong. Till the one day when this lesbo met this gay boy, and they were forced to talk for hours every day. It was then they knew their show was special. That's how they became Derek and Romaine. It's Derek and Romaine. They're both insane. It's time for the Derek and Romaine Show.
Wow.
Woo!
Hello, Derek.
Hello, Romaine. Well, here we are once again.
Once again, here we are doing another show.
Yes.
I love it.
We're not live, but we're as lively
What do you mean we're
as
not
you
live?
could possibly expect.
I'm alive. I'm alive, Derek. I'm alive.
I said live, not alive.
Oh, live, as in the show is not live today. Got it. Why is the
Yes.
show not live today? Where are we? What are we doing?
We are on another DNR cruise.
Oh, my
the
God. Do
first-
we ever stay home? Ever? Really? Do we?
I stayed home during the holidays.
That's true. You did. I did not.
There's no place like home.
Okay, no, we don't need your-
for the holidays.
Yeah, the holidays are over, Derek. They're gone. They're bye. Bye.
There's still holidays. We just had President's Day weekend.
We just had Valentine's Day.
Yeah, see?
No.
Well, I mean, I don't think Valentine's Day is officially a holiday.
Isn't
like, you don't
it?
get time
They
off
have
of
like
work.
a whole dedication to it in my Target store. I feel like anything that gets a whole dedication to a holiday is a holiday. Like if you have aisles and aisles of shit in pink and red for Valentine's Day, that says to me you're a holiday. Or do you mean like holiday meaning like you get a day off from
You don't
work?
have to fucking work.
That's
That's
a holiday. Got
Holiday.
it. Okay, you and I have very different definitions of holidays then.
No, we don't. I'm pretty sure you love a day off.
I do. I mean, there's nothing I love more than a day off. We get so few. Because even when we take a day off, we still have to do the work for the day off. Like today, even though we're not live today, we still did the work. We're still here doing a show for our audience because why? Because we care. We love them. And so we're like, we can't just give them some shitty old best of show. No, we got to give them something new, something fresh. Can you tell I've had my coffee this morning? Ooh, I feel good.
You really have.
It's not even morning. It's actually in the afternoon, but I still feel full of vim and vigor from my coffee earlier today.
Do you even know what vim and vigor are, young lady?
No, I sure don't. Vim and they're vim and they're vigor. They're vim and vigor. They're vigor and vim. That's what they are. Don't ask me about what old-timey words mean. Do I look like the fucking Webster's Dictionary?
Definitely
Do
not.
I?
Absolutely
I don't.
not.
That's right. I definitely do not.
She's on Wikipedia, but she does not represent Wikipedia.
Right. That's right. Okay. Here's what vim and vigor mean, Derek.
Okay.
Energy and enthusiasm.
Pep.
Yeah. Energy and
She's full-
enthusiasm.
She's full of pep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we are going to be joined by somebody who is very peppy, Cameron Scheetz. He is one of the editors over at Queerty, and we're going to be talking to him about all sorts of things going on in media these days because the voting is open now for the annual Queerties, their award show that they do every year, where they nominate various movies, TV shows, music artists, badass celebrities.
Right.
Lots of fun categories there.
Yeah.
And even podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Are we
So you can see-
nominated?
well, I guess people will find out because
I
we're going
guess
to
so.
discuss it in a few
Oh,
minutes. But
we are.
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
This time of year, it's award season.
Yes. Lots of awards
and
happening.
people are talking about getting awards. Romaine is always looking to add a new shelf in her house to put other awards on.
I am.
But most people reward themselves in a very simple way.
How?
With
the
Girl Scout
orgasm?
cookies. Delicious Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, my God. Derek, you know I love me my Girl Scout cookies. They make me so very, very happy. And now I'm a diabetic, so I'm like not supposed to have the Girl Scout cookies. But if I do it like a cookie or two, not an entire sleeve of cookies all at once, I'm okay. But let me tell you something. It's not so easy to get Girl Scout cookies. where I live anyway. They aren't like just on every corner selling them like hookers. I wish they were, because I would be very, very happy about that. They're actually quite hard to find around here. So I have had to put some feelers out. I had to find me a dealer, basically. And I found a kid who's going to be my Girl Scout this year. But she lives in a whole other state. My dealer's in Ohio or Illinois. I can't even remember which. One of those two. One of those middle America states. But I had to like track down a Girl Scout. Remember back in the day when we worked at the old place and we had the one coworker whose daughter sold Girl Scout cookies,
Yeah.
and we always made the biggest order, and then she would literally roll up with a giant suitcase full of cookies.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, it was the best.
This is, here's the thing about that I miss about working in a big office. One, Valentine's Day, when if you were in a relationship, you would get flowers or candy or whatever to your desk. So then the
everyone
sad
saw
single
how much you
people,
were loved,
right, could see that somebody loved you
and not
and didn't love them. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was great.
That was great. I do
So
agree.
I do miss
did
that.
love
I know Romaine misses that because she
Yeah.
loves a big show of love, like
Whoa,
a public
yeah.
display of
Yeah,
love, like that.
absolutely.
especially if it's expensive,
Yes. A little blue box from Tiffany.
right?
Yes.
You just leave that on your desk unguarded.
Yes, girl.
But the other thing is being able to get the Girl Scout cookie hookup.
Right. It was so great.
It really was.
All right. So it's Girl Scout season. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, it is coming up or it's happening. I don't know. Because again, I don't have any
happening.
Girl Scouts, but
So-
I feel like I'll have to ask around in my town because
It is happening.
for people who love Girl Scout cookies,
Yeah.
well, one, the Girl Scouts have traditionally been
Yep.
quite supportive of the LGBTQ community.
Yes, they have.
So it's important for us as a community to support them back.
Absolutely. Eat all
But
the cookies.
also, they have announced that they are sunsetting some cookie flavors that won't be
okay.
available after this
They better
cookie season.
They better not be my favorites, but I don't think they will be. Okay, go. What are they?
Okay, well, one of them is the s'mores.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care about that cookie.
Whoa! Why you gotta be hostile to chocolate and marshmallow and graham cracker?
Listen, I just don't care about it. It's fine. I'm not a big s'mores person, so it's fine. I
Well,
can
you're
I can
American.
handle not
Okay.
having a s'mores cookie.
And then the toast yas
The fuck are the
Cookies.
toast yas?
or toast yays.
See, this says to me these cookies must suck because no one's buying them, which is why they're getting rid of them.
Well, I don't think it's so much that as it is. That one came in more recently. It is a French toast cookie.
French toast cookie?
Yeah, that's
hell
dipped
wants
in
that?
icing and powdered sugar,
No.
and it. But they just rolled it out in 2021.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. That cookie didn't take off because it sounds stupid.
I think it just didn't have an
French
opportunity
toast.
to really find itself.
Nobody wants a French toast cookie. Ugh. Disappointing. Okay. All right. So those two cookies are going away. I'm fine with
Yeah.
both of those going away.
Now the s'mores Girl Scout cookies, I think, have been around
They've been around longer. Yeah. But,
Uh,
you can get a
okay.
s'more anytime. Just go out to your fire pit, light it up, make a s'more.
But also they have things like just get a Malamar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the real thing is that it's hard for the Girl Scouts to come up with a newer cookie.
That hasn't already been done before.
Yeah, because there's already a lot of cookies out in the space. The other thing to keep in mind is, I mean, we know they sell just an absolute. This is the technical term, ass load of Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies.
Well, because everybody knows the Thin Mint is the best cookie.
pretty
Everybody knows that.
But what has happened, because this has happened with ice cream flavors too, is that the audience tastes have narrowed so much
Mm-hmm.
that there's no point in manufacturing some things. Like I read an article about how it's very hard to find certain ice cream flavors now, especially when they've been around for a long time, because people just don't buy them anymore. And so the companies are like, we'll just keep making cookie dough ice cream because that's what everybody
That
wants.
makes sense because you like my daughter love ice cream, and so we always go to the ice cream aisle when we go out grocery shopping. And I'm always like, oh, why aren't there more selections of flavors? It's like 5 flavors for the big brands. There's like vanilla. There's always like a mint chocolate chip one. Usually there's like I was going to say, sometimes there's butter pecan, but sometimes there's not. I feel like I find butter pecan less and less over the years. But there's usually some kind of chocolatey flavor. There's not a lot. Now that you think about it, you're right. There's not a lot of flavors. Unless you're Ben and Jerry, and then you have several different flavors, and that's okay, because I like the Ben and Jerry's. I think Ben and Jerry's is the most, extreme with their flavors. But that's their whole thing. But even then, I only buy 2 or 3 of them. Because there's only a couple I like.
Now, I do always like to have 2 or 3 different ice creams in the house at once. And I'm not including vanilla, because right now I have just vanilla ice cream in case there's a scenario where I have fresh berries. Let me have some vanilla ice cream or a pie.
There should always be some fresh vanilla ice cream in your fridge.
On hand
or your freezer.
Some vanilla ice cream.
I agree.
Just because you never know.
But that doesn't last in my house. If there is even a tablespoon of ice cream in that freezer, my daughter will eat it. You cannot keep ice cream in my house because my daughter will eat it. I got sugar-free ice cream, and my daughter ate it. My daughter lives for ice cream.
I mean, we all scream for ice cream.
Yeah.
But sometimes, because with the other flavors, I like to have a mix of flavors.
Right, that makes sense.
So, because I tend to buy, this is a whole other problem that I have. I only buy ice cream that is actually ice cream. I don't buy the frozen dairy dessert. I look at the label. If it doesn't say ice cream, I'm not buying it.
That makes sense.
Because in order to be ice cream, it has to meet certain standards in terms of the content. And the frozen dairy dessert means it's just really
like ice
not
milk.
Ice cream.
Yeah, it's not ice cream. It's ice milk. It's like that shit our parents made us eat as kids because they were too poor to actually afford real ice cream.
Well, but part of it also is that some of these newer ice creams have so many mix-ins into it that I don't think there's enough actual dairy for it to be considered ice cream, which is a whole other problem.
I mean, that's just sad.
I mean, I guess. I mean, if you want a Choco Block Story Hour explosion in your mouth,
I don't.
Then But
I
look
a
at some of
simple
those
flavor ice cream, Derek. I like me a butter pecan.
Yeah.
That's my ice cream. That's my ice cream of choice. It's probably because it was my dad's favorite ice cream.
Well,
I grew up eating
it's an old person's ice cream. I love it too, obviously for my own reasons.
But also, I just like pecans.
So I always have a chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Always.
Really? I hate chocolate chip
God,
cookie dough ice cream.
I love it. I love the cookie dough ice cream. I love it. I'm here with America. I'm here for you, America. I also love that. Okay, that's it, number 1.
Okay.
And then I like to have, if it's available, either I'll have something like a fruitier one. Like sometimes I'll do like a orange creams, whatever the orange creamsicle knockoff thing is.
I hate creamsicles.
I know but I can't have a ton of it all the time.
Right.
But in the summer, it's kind of nice. Or I'll do like a raspberry, but then I mix that with the vanilla because I do love a raspberry and vanilla together. If I have too much vanilla ice cream, it's let me grab some raspberry and then do 1 scoop of each kind of a thing.
Interesting.
And then I like to have some kind of, or I might do a chocolate and almond ice cream. I like that, or a mint chocolate chip.
That's Romy's favorite, mint chocolate chip all day.
But they don't make that as much anymore because people don't like it as much. And then I'll alternate between a butter pecan or a maple walnut.
Ooh.
Which is that is a great fall ice cream flavor.
That sounds delish.
Yeah, it's really good.
Pretty sure that would go against all my diabetes rules, but that does sound delicious.
Yeah, it would.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Well, now I want some ice cream, Derek. Thanks for that. That sounds delicious.
I'm here to help you.
Now, what is your favorite Ben and Jerry's ice cream, or do you ever eat Ben and Jerry's?
I really never eat Ben and Jerry's. I have in the past.
Yeah.
But it's never been I appreciate their core values, but they've never been my jam as
Interesting.
an ice cream.
Well,
And
because
part
they
of
have
it
a lot of
is,
stuff in their ice cream usually.
yeah, and I like the simpler the better with the ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Really straightforward. Like the maple walnut. You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're getting.
Sure.
Butter pecan. You know exactly what you're getting.
You do.
And I like the simpler, really just sort of two flavor ingredients.
Okay.
Like the Swiss almond.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Okay.
it's just chocolate and almond. Fine.
Yep.
Maple and walnut. Fine. Butter and pecan. Fine. You know.
Yeah.
And that's it for me.
Hmm.
I like to keep it simple.
Okay. Interesting.
But sometimes people love a whole bazaar full of ingredients in their ice cream. Like 10 ingredients in there, different flavors and whatever. Like if you want trail mix or a fruit salad, go and have that.
right. I
don't
agree.
understand. And then also, like, I hate Neapolitan ice cream.
Oh my God, I do too. I hate it so much.
It's never the chocolate is never quality.
Yep.
The strawberry is never quality. Vanilla, it's never quality ice cream.
Yeah, it's
and
always just cheap and gross and nasty, and then it gets all mixed up and bleh.
Yeah, 2 flavors fine. 3 flavors
No.
gross.
I agree with you on this.
See,
In fact, when I get like a banana split, Derek, I will either do like chocolate and strawberry, no pineapple. I only do 2 of the 3 toppings because I'm with you. 3's too many.
oh no, a banana split, and also like don't give me 3 different flavors of ice cream in a banana split.
No. 1 flavor.
Yeah,
1 flavor ice cream and only 2 of the toppings because 3 gets to be too much.
ugh, it's so nasty.
Nasty. I agree. Wow, I didn't know you and I agreed so strongly on this.
Yeah, well,
Huh,
you know what?
interesting.
Even after 22 years, Romaine, we're still learning new things about each other.
Wow, I like that. That's nice. That's nice. Look at us growing and learning about each other in new ways. Oh, that's sweet.
All right. Well, since we have been talking about food and all these things Romaine can't eat because she's on her health journey,
Yes.
and
Sure
it can
am.
cause, well, Romaine has had some pooplosion
Oh
situations here.
man. Yeah.
But a woman in Connecticut
Yeah.
is a little upset.
Because
Well, because she contacted Charmin.
the toilet paper maker.
Yeah. Now
Okay.
they had they sent an email that said they had a contest, I guess,
Okay.
where she believed that she was going to get a year's supply of Charmin.
Wow, that would save you hundreds of dollars.
Right.
Because toilet paper is fucking expensive.
But apparently they had a contest, and I think that she received a notice of congratulations, you won.
Right.
But then she wasn't actually the winner.
Oh.
And so they sent her an email that said, "Oopsie, we made a poopsie."
Please tell me that's what it actually said.
That is really what it said. And I think that was the subject line. "Oopsie, we made a poopsie." And in the email said, "Sorry, you're not actually the winner of a year's supply of Charmin. Here is a $2 coupon."
Shut up. So they made this poor woman get all excited thinking she'd won the jackpot of toilet paper. And then they gave her $2?
Yeah.
That's the best they could do? Now let me ask you something, Derek. I don't know how much it costs Charmin to make a year's supply of toilet paper. But let's say, for shits and giggles sake, right, that it is one of those big 12 packs a month, right? And those 12 packs cost, I don't know, $25 each, right? Let's just say roughly to buy at the store, which means let's say it probably costs them, we'll say it costs them $7 to make it. So if that's true, it would cost them less than $100 in toilet paper for their toilet paper for her to get a year's supply of toilet paper. Give the bitch a year's supply of toilet paper. Suck up your mistake. It's not that big a deal. What the actual fuck? Now they look like assholes who screwed this poor woman and gave her $2.
Right. They screwed her right in her "oopsie, we made a poopsie" hole.
Yeah, who is the dumb marketing person who fucked that up?
I don't know. But after she, I assume, complained in social media, whatever, the story went viral, they did end up giving her $50 instead.
Oh my God! Again, give her a year's supply of toilet paper.
I mean,
It
you don't
doesn't
know her
cost
life.
you
Maybe
anything.
$50 is a year's supply of toilet paper.
Girl, $50 doesn't even get you two big bins of toilet
No, it
paper.
doesn't get you. Okay, so Mike and Brian moved out of this house whenever, right? 2 years
Sure.
ago? More than
Yeah.
almost 2.5 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they moved out, there was one of the, an opened, because they didn't take an opened toilet paper roll thing, but one of the big, I don't even know how many rolls are in there, 18 rolls? What's in a big package of
Usually
of
it's
toilet paper?
18 or
Okay, let's say it's
12,
18.
or 24 usually.
All
depending
right,
on
so
what's
they
in it.
had an 18 pack of toilet paper that was open, and rolls were out of it. It wasn't completely empty or anything, but quite a number of the rolls were out. Okay.
Okay.
I live alone in this house. I've been here for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
There are still rolls of toilet paper in that pack in my house.
Okay, you're a man. Oh, the
I
only
am.
thing you're wiping is your ass. This is a woman. She's got to wipe her vagina every time
Right,
she goes to the
but
bathroom.
What I'm saying is a year's supply of toilet paper for me is that $2 coupon would have been just fine. That's what I'm saying. I would never have entered that contest because I couldn't possibly, I don't even know what a year's supply of toilet paper would be around here. Almost nothing. But
I
you're
got
right.
so much
In
toilet
your
paper at my
household
house.
with
Oh my God.
3 women,
Yeah, it's a nightmare how much toilet
Yeah.
paper we go through at my household.
I'm sure the septic tank loves you.
Oh, it hates me. And I don't blame it, frankly. I don't blame it because we go through a lot of toilet paper in this house.
Well, and plus with your health journey, there's even more oopsie for the poopsie.
No, there's less actually. It's less because I poop so infrequently now.
But then it
Although,
all comes out eventually.
well, yeah, but it usually just comes out in one big outing. So you only have to really wipe up one time versus someone
I
who
guess you
poops
would
5
use
times a
less
day.
toilet paper if you're
Yeah.
only having one giant poop every
Yeah.
5 days.
I only have to clean
versus-
my hole once versus 5 times in a week.
And I mean, after a pooplosion, you might as well use a garden hose anyway.
Well, I mean, I have a bidet,
La di da.
so I just hose it down, wipe it down. You're good to go.
Just get that hot squirt up there.
Yeah, you just gotta, get a little wash, give it a little buff. You're good to go. A wash and buff. God, when did I become such a seriously loser when it comes to this shit?
I don't know.
I don't either. Anyway, so this is how they solved. They gave her $50.
Yeah.
They're idiots. I mean, it doesn't I get that even for them, there's expenses to giving away a year's worth of toilet paper, right? But give her one of those big packs, ship her one every fucking month. It's going to cost you so little money and now you have this PR nightmare where you look like a bunch of stingy assholes who broke this woman's heart because now she's not a winner. And by the way, would anyone have known if there were more than one winner? Just give her the fucking prize.
Well, also, the bad publicity that Charmin got from this, it would have been worth it to just send her a year's
Right.
supply of toilet paper.
Or they could have been like, oh no, we made a mistake, but you know what? We love you so much because you're one of our fans that we're going to give you a year's worth of toilet paper anyway. And then they could have turned this into a feel-good story instead of a we look like asshole story.
Yeah. And then we
Sad.
wouldn't have had anything to talk about on our show.
Well, you mean
Well.
every day? See, listeners, we're not live, but it feels like every other show, doesn't it?
It really does. We're really delivering the high quality content you expect.
Derek, that's what we do here. We give out
Mostly.
all the highest of quality of content.
Since we're going to be talking to Queerty about the Queerties,
Yes.
Romaine, I
Yes.
thought I would mention that I recently saw a queer movie.
You did?
I did.
What'd you see?
The movie Queer with Daniel Craig.
Oh, how was that?
Well,
Oh, no.
you would not like it
Okay.
because you don't know a lot about William S. Burroughs, right?
No,
The writer.
I do not. No.
Okay. So a lot of his stuff, he did a lot of drugs, and a lot of his stuff is weird.
Right.
And it's been hard for them because they've made movies of his various works, and they often are surreal and weird. And so, anyway, so it is, it's either your taste or it's not your taste.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's definitely not going to be my taste. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. But did you like it?
It's not really. It's not. William S. Burroughs. I mean, his Thanksgiving prayer video that he did is 40 years ago is brutal and insightful.
Right.
But I'm not really like a super fan or anything.
Okay.
But he, whatever, they make interesting work. So in this case, same director who did Call Me by Your Name and Challengers, same writer as Challengers, and it's based on a short story William S. Burroughs wrote called Queer. And it's sort of, I assume, loosely or accurately based on his actual experience living in Mexico City in the 1950s and the sort of underground gay community that was going on there. And in the story, he meets a handsome young student who is younger than he is, and they carry on a sexual relationship and then also take a road trip where they get super high on ayahuasca.
Oh.
And have a journey.
Okay.
And so there's, Daniel Craig is quite good in the movie. And Drew Starkey is a very handsome, high quality actor.
Okay.
And the sex scenes in it are explicit.
Oh. How explicit are we talking?
It's happening. Like you're like, oh. As reviewers have pointed out, in the past, he has had the camera sort of pan away as things start to get hot.
Yeah.
And in this one, it's like, and then the camera pans right back.
Okay.
So if you've ever dreamed of seeing Daniel Craig go down on someone, well, have I got a movie for you?
Really?
Oh, yeah. So if you're into that kind of content, like it's in there. And it really is more of like it doesn't have much of a plot. It really is just sort of a meditation on this experience that they're having. It's a kind of an actorly kind of a movie because it gives them an opportunity to sit around and speak somewhat vaguely and stare longingly through windows and that kind of thing.
Right.
So you would hate it.
Okay.
Because really not a lot happens.
Yeah.
But ultimately it is about characters that are trying to connect with each other and struggling to connect.
Okay.
And that's interesting. Because he's, trying to, open himself up to someone. And then there's a real question of whether or not the Drew Starkey's character is gay or not, or in this case, queer. Like they just use the word queer for everything. And so I think that, so that is sort of interesting. If there's sort of a young person who is exploring their sexuality, but may not actually be queer, but falls into a situation where, their sexuality is briefly on the table.
Right.
Kind of a thing. And we've all been there.
Yeah.
And so it's a fairly common experience that way. But I will just say this about Drew Starkey. He has the most heterosexual chest hair I've ever seen on a man.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. There's no way that man is gay. That chest hair is heterosexual. Gay men do not have that chest hair pattern. Only straight men.
Okay. What is the
this
pattern
is
that
unscientific.
That it
I
is?
get it.
I don't even understand.
I think that some gay guys listening will understand what I'm saying here about, like Jonathan Bailey, gay chest hair. Drew Starkey, straight chest hair.
Huh. Okay. I don't even know what that means, but okay.
And, because I've said this before, my theory about like gaydar,
Yeah.
that like gays are drawn to straight celebrities because they are carrying a recessive gay gene,
Right.
and that they will frequently end up having, LGBTQ immediate family members.
Yep.
Oh, look, Meryl Streep, who the gays love. Daughter came out as a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
What a shock. I couldn't be more surprised.
Right.
Anyway. But in this case, I don't have any scientific foundation for this. I could just point to an enormous number of celebrities that the gays are the most obsessed with, and them having immediate family members who are LGBTQ. And it goes right up to Judy Garland,
Right.
gay father, gay husbands, Barbra Streisand, gay son. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Cher, trans son. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's all right there. Anyway. But with Drew Starkey. So I don't have a scientific foundation for my belief about this recessive gay gene, but I totally believe it's true. But I feel the same way here about this chest hair thing. Like, there is heterosexual chest hair and there is homosexual chest hair, and Drew Starkey has heterosexual chest hair.
Gotcha.
Prove me wrong, internet.
Okay.
But
now I feel like I need to go look at his chest hair.
as soon as his shirt came off, I was like, that man is straight.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna take you at your word, sir.
But Drew Droege, who I know from Los Angeles, he's in
great.
the Alonzo Duralde, Dennis Hensley, Tom Lenk, Jack Plotnick crowd of friends.
Yes.
And he is in the movie, and he is quite good. He has a very small role, but he's quite good in it. And then Jason Schwartzman, honestly, there was a lot of talk that Daniel Craig should have been nominated for an Oscar. And it is a shame because the movie really was completely shut out at the Oscars. Like, didn't get any nominations. But
That's a bummer.
it would have been nice for Daniel Craig to get a nomination because he does do a good job. But honestly, Jason Schwartzman really is the one who most deserves like a supporting actor nomination. He is unrecognizable
Oh, really?
in this movie.
Huh.
If you did not know he was in the movie, you would not know that was him in the movie.
Oh, wow.
And he plays like Daniel Craig's like best gay friend, and he's great. He's really, really good in the movie. Like a really, because sometimes you watch a movie and you walk away and you go, okay, awards are overblown and whatever else.
Right.
But sometimes people really just 10 out of 10 nail it like out of the park, and you feel it when the movie is over. Like, how could anybody have done this any better?
Right.
And so Jason Schwartzman is really good in it.
Oh, cool.
And it's just weird. But if you like weird gay movies or whatever, it wasn't bad. Like, there wasn't anything about it that was
Right.
bad. It's just going to be a personal taste kind of a thing. But if you like an art house movie where it's real arty and people are giving great performances, but not a lot happens, and you like some hot gay sex in it, well, Queer is the movie for you.
Okay.
But you, Romaine, will not like.
Okay. I won't watch then. Thank you for the heads up.
I just think you would watch it and be like, I was bored because it's 2
Right.
hours and
Yeah.
17 minutes. The movie could have been 90 minutes. It would have been fine. I actually think if it had been a 90-minute movie, my review would be a lot better because it really did not have a reason to be as long as it was.
Gotcha. All right. Well, did it get any nominations in the Queerty Awards? Do you know? Did we
I
see?
guess we'll find out.
I guess so.
Actually, we don't talk about with him, but people can go to Queerty.com and check out the Queerties nominees. I'd be very surprised if it was not nominated.
I agree.
People can check it out and hear more about who is nominated for the Queerties coming up next here on Derek and Romaine.
Stay tuned for more Derek and Romaine.
Derek here along with Romaine, and joining us now, it's Queerty editor Cameron Scheetz. He focuses on TV and movies over at Queerty, and he's here to talk to us about the Queerties, the awards that you can vote on right now at Queerty.com. And of course, you can find Queerty in social media. They are Queerty on Facebook, Instagram, X, and everywhere. you are connecting with people socially. Queerty. Cameron, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. You're so right. You can vote on these, which is great. We love a true democratic process that actually works.
Unlike all the ones that don't. Oh, so
Right.
Now, you spend a lot of time looking at TV and movies, and in the past, have you been surprised by how the votes have shaken out with the Queerties before?
That is a great question. Yeah, I mean, in some sense, because, there are certain shows and movies that are popular. I mean, gosh, with movies in particular, you have the box office receipts. You know what actually is done well. But there's a certain extra layer of something like the Queerties where it is fan voted, and you really see where the passion lies with these movies. So, I mean, I think for a great example, I love this year, we have the comedy movie category, and there's a lot of great films in there. There's a lot of interesting indies. There are also two of the most buzzed about online movies of the year, in my opinion, Challengers and The Substance, which, debatable on whether those are actually comedies per se, but we tend to go off of our a gut feeling rule with the categorization there. But that's just to say that those movies are both so popular online and with an online audience, and the people, our audience that we know is super engaged. So I'm really curious to see where, I think that one's going to be a battle royale. I'm really curious to see where the fandom is going to vote there. It's a popularity contest in some sense, but it's about passion and what are our readers, what is our audience really, really passionate about.
Well, it is. I mean, obviously, there's an enormous downside that has come with social media, but
Sure.
there is also a lot of upside in terms of sort of the creativity around things that go viral. And, I'm thinking about Conclave, which before I saw it,
Yeah.
I saw a ton of viral memes around Conclave. And
yeah, I remember you
thought,
talking about those.
yeah. And I thought going in, oh, this is going to be a super camp fest. Ray Fiennes, who, has given a campy performance before. I was like, oh, this is going to be over the top camp. And then I saw it, I was like, no, this is actually not at all a campy movie. But the way that social media took it on, I mean, I guess it triggered something for people that sent them off. So it is fascinating to see, because you can sort of see in real time the way that people are absorbing this media in a way that was not available to us before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's such a great point too. It's I certainly, at this day and age, don't want to be giving social media credit for anything. I think this is all credit to the fans and community. It's sort of it's great that we have these platforms that we can sort of find each other and rally behind these films that move us in various ways. That's who we're giving the credit to. It is the fans, the resilient fans who will find whatever medium they can to, shower praise and meme and adore these movies and TV shows and other things within pop culture that speak to us, definitely.
Yeah. But this is also a big part about why, us doing our show or you working on Queerty, our LGBTQ perspective and point of view
Is different.
Is important because we do ultimately see things differently than other people might see it. And it can create a broader understanding or interest in something that people might not have had otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's 100% true. We have better taste. I mean, I'll just say it. We do. We do. And that always pans out in the Queerties in particular. But I think that's what's so cool about the show and has always been so cool. It's I spend I spend all of my year covering these things, writing about them. And it's just cool to create this opportunity then to kind of bring it all to a head, so to speak, and just let this feel like this fun celebratory thing and give this space for our readers and beyond to really, as we said, just show what great taste the gays have.
It is true. I wonder how you feel about the way that the LGBTQ representation in media has changed because, early on, we had, especially in like the 90s, early 2000s, we had this blossoming of independent queer media, especially independent movies. But then in this century, I hate to say it like that, but it's true. In this century, we have a lot of very mainstream LGBTQ performers, writers, directors, producers, and we're seeing a lot more of ourselves sort of woven into a broader fabric of media. So, not that there aren't still independent artists that are making independent works, but we're also seeing a lot of like LGBTQ people who are movie stars, TV stars,
Yeah.
like Elliot Page, Jonathan Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
People who are like very much in the broader pop culture conversation. So when you're looking at movies and TV, how has that changing landscape changed your perspective and what and how you cover it?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think that there's just more work for me and others like me, like in queer media, so to speak, to do, which is a good thing. There's so much more. I think, like as you said, it's not like, oh, now we're suddenly in mainstream films and TV and whatnot, and now we're not seeing these independent things being made. There's so many really amazing independent queer films still being made and that have been made in the past year and are continuing to be made, which I think is really, really awesome. I mean, I think the key, no matter what, is no matter what the scale of the project we're talking about is like whether or not we're the ones being able to tell our stories and whether or not we're doing it authentically. I mean, I think to talk about the biggest end of things, someone like Jonathan Bailey, who is in Wicked, one of the biggest and, may I add, gayest movies of the last year, but also is going to be one of the leads in the new Jurassic World movie that trailer just dropped for. And I have no idea if his character is going to be gay or not in that. I really hope so. But, like, regardless, it's just so cool that we have reached this moment where, like, you can literally point to him and be like, that he is an A-list star at this point, and he is openly, proudly gay. And I think that's just a really, really cool thing. I mean, it's exciting to me because we are seeing it on all levels at this moment. And obviously go ahead.
I was going to say, and it gives Queerty an opportunity to do a feature piece on Jonathan Bailey in a variety of slutty glasses.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, we
How horrible for everybody.
I know, isn't that rough? Our jobs are really, really tough.
But, Jonathan Bailey is actually really interesting because for a long time, we have talked about sort of the elusive gay leading man that we really felt like this is the big barrier that we need, an openly gay actor that can lead rom-coms and action movies and really be seen as, a very mainstream performer. And even somebody who could potentially toggle between gay and straight characters and that kind of thing. And I think that, we definitely have sort of nudged around the edges of this over the last few years. I feel like there was briefly a moment with Rupert Everett in the late 90s where that was a possibility it could take off. Luke Evans, for sure. But I feel like maybe Jonathan Bailey is having that moment right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jonathan Bailey is definitely such a great example because he is such an obvious breakout star. I mean, I think another person who's been really exciting to me throughout their whole career, but especially what we've been able to see them accomplish in these past few years is Coleman Domingo.
Yeah.
He's been in anything and everything, and he's sort of, I mean, man, that guy never stops working. But we're seeing him in these bigger franchise films too, and we're seeing him do really interesting indie stuff. We're seeing him get the Oscar nominations for truly like phenomenal work in Sing Sing, like one of the most amazing performances. I said Oscar nomination. I should also say Queerty's nomination. Coleman is nominated for that role as well.
Right, don't forget that.
The Queerties, of course, very importantly. So I think it's really exciting. I mean, these are really weird, interesting, dark times, to put it incredibly mildly. But the fact that we have had these stars emerge really who are just undeniably themselves at all times and are just working is really exciting. I mean, I also have been really thrilled by everything that we've seen Hunter Schafer do, and I think like her star power is only just beginning to rise. I think Euphoria was a really cool breakout for her. She was the lead in the horror movie Cuckoo last year, which she is Queerty nominated for. And that is a wild, bonkers movie. But I watched that and I'm just like, oh my God, put Hunter in, in front of the camera, just consistent. Like she is going to be the big superstar. And I think that's so cool that we're in this moment right now that we have that happening.
I want to ask you, so, in the last couple of years, we've seen a real rise in transgender actors and actresses that have really made their mark. But given everything that we are seeing with the new administration, do you worry that some of that will take a step back? Or do you think that creative people are going to lean into it even harder to make a point?
That is a fascinating question. I mean, maybe it's the optimist in me, but I think it's just, in my mind, we see people lean harder that way. I think like on a studio level, just in terms of daring filmmaking, we are going to see studios get cold feet, just which is maybe way too pat of a way to put it, but just on every level with what they're willing to spend money on, and that is a huge bummer. I mean, we've seen ways in which this trans storyline in this, not to name names, but Disney series has been cut and that sort of thing. That's very, very dispiriting.
Right.
But I do think that, again, we have so many great folks within like the indie space that are doing exciting work, and we've also seen, especially in the last couple of years, the way that like these bigger yet smaller indie studios like A24, like Neon, like even Mubi this last year have been able to make art that is exciting and challenging, that put diverse voices front and center, and actually find the audience for that. There are still people out there doing exciting work. So I want to say I'm optimistic regardless. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, well, this administration is going to be great for art because there's going to, like, that feels a little macabre, but I do think that we're always going to, I mean, we've always been here, we're always going to be here, and we have great people on all levels of the industry who are doing the work, who are championing us, who are leading the charge, and I think that's really exciting.
Well, I have to imagine also that from a writing standpoint, from storylines, especially for television, but also to a certain degree for movies, is that Pandora's box has been opened about adding in other people's voices and perspectives to make storytelling more interesting. If you think about just sort of, the experience of being gay within the context of, working in a hospital or a firehouse or whatever else, the reality is if you're churning out 22 episodes of a show, like Grey's Anatomy, 20 years, Special Victims Unit, 25 years, these shows, the writers are constantly looking for what, we need new storylines, we need new characters, we need to, everything to keep it interesting and going for long periods of time. And I have to imagine that this makes writers' lives easier to have different people, different points of view, different perspectives to weave into these stories, because they got, as somebody with a lot of time to fill every week, I understand they need to fill this space.
Right.
And so I do wonder if just this ball is already rolling too much to end it. But as we have seen through GLAAD's own reports about gay characters and openly gay performers and everything, is that that has dialed back a little bit over the last few years, and that might be in favor of other broader diversities like communities of color or people with disabilities, other underrepresented communities in media after our very successful integration into media. But it could also be that, we might see going forward fewer LGBTQ characters or performers who are the leads in a lot of these things. And that we might see something that looks more like the 90s and early 2000s in terms of representation.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and there's definitely like cause to be concerned when you see like GLAAD's reporting and such. I am hopeful that even if we're not the leads and we are there, it's still done in a very thoughtful, sensitive way. I mean, I think of the '90s and the way gay characters, queer characters were treated then. It was often like the very special episode or the trope that's been so prevalent even up until this day, the bury your gays trope, where you get this big moment and the gay character gets killed off. I'm hopeful that no matter where we are, our presence is more authentic and more well-rounded. And but I do think that, to your earlier point, it's so true that queer people do just make things more interesting. My gosh, I've been saying for forever, like, why are there not more reality shows that are like all queer casts? I mean, I think MTV, when they did that season of Are You the One with an all queer cast, that was one of the most fascinating, entertaining, drama-filled seasons of television I've ever seen. And damn it, I want more of it. I mean, The Traitors has done a fun job of having a pretty queer cast this season, and that's panned out in a really fun, interesting way. So, just an example, but yeah, come on, we're just more fun to watch.
You are absolutely right about that.
I mean, we can be. All right, so let's talk about a recent controversy. Obviously, we're recording this earlier than when it's going to air, so situations are fluid. So keep that in mind when you're listening to this. I mean, it's a few days before, but even still, things move fast in Hollywood sometimes. But let's talk about Karla Sofia Gascon, who is nominated for film performance. But also, you've been covering on Queerty the controversy surrounding her personally, as in the midst of her award season push around Amelia Perez.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sensitive story for sure, and I think we're still sort of seeing how it's unfolding. I mean, the observation I've made is just that, like, a lot of the things that she said that have been uncovered from her Twitter are absolutely awful, abhorrent, and we can talk about, they were out of context and whatnot, but it's pretty horrifying, a lot of what we've seen. I want to be like careful in just the way that we do talk about this story and write about it, just in the sense that obviously, given this moment, I don't want this to be an opportunity for everyone to pile on to a trans woman. I think I don't necessarily know the path forward for her and the film and whatnot, but I think, like, I guess I've just observed how quickly it feels like a lot of these organizations have been to sort of distance themselves from her. And I understand why, again, just given what we've seen, but that it happened so quickly with her. And then we have other folks within the industry who, want to say they've been canceled, but continue to work, continue to get backed by these major studios. That part is really upsetting to me, that it feels like it was all too easy for industry at large to, just talking broader industry, to turn their backs on her when there are other people who, it's debatable, but have maybe said so much worse that are still getting supported, are still getting a platform. That's not to say one way or another what the best path forward is with Karla and how that should be handled, but I just think it's an interesting comparison point to bring.
Well, I think it goes to this this double standard that's kind of always existed in certain lines of work, let's say, especially in Hollywood, whether you're a woman or someone in a minority group. But I think there is this expectation that you have to hold yourself to a higher standard than, let's say, other groups, because you are a role model. You are the example. When there are so few of you out there, you almost have to be better. You have to present yourself better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to be very easy to be like, oh, they're all the same. Got to walk away from this shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's really true, and it's been interesting just to see the narrative of this film overall. I mean, I think there's, from the beginning, especially once queer and trans critics got a chance to see it and voice their, criticisms of the film. You know, Karla's always had previously been very front and center in this story. It's like, well, here is this trans woman at the center of the story, and she's able to share her story, and she's making history in all these ways. And I think she's, from the beginning, been very careful to be like, look, I can't, and it felt like people so often would turn to her to be like, what do you hope that this has to say for the trans community and that sort of thing? I think she was very careful for a while to be like, look, I can't speak for the full trans community. I'm my own person. Like,
Right.
yes, this is a community I'm part of, but I think that part has been, that's sort of just been part of the narrative of the beginning. Is she's always been like, look, I am my own person, So there are some nuances here. It's really upsetting, though, just that we would have, for, the broader community, but for the trans community, especially, this history-making Oscar nomination, and to have such a big asterisk next to it now.
Yeah. I think, two things about this. One is I feel like, obviously, there has been big fallout here, but it really does feel like all of this fallout is in sort of left-leaning spheres. We've seen before that LGBTQ people can be, trashed on the right, for instance, and that, all the outrage is on the right. But in this case, I think part of it is that there was already so much division within the LGBTQ community and then just generally in the creative community about the movie itself, Amelia Perez, before this happened. And I think it would be different if we were talking about a movie that was widely embraced creatively and within the LGBTQ community, and then this happened with the star. I think that part of her problem here is that she already was in, fronting a property that had, weak or, divided levels of support. So there wasn't a good foundation for her to be standing on when this happened. And, the second thing is that I know most people at home don't think about this, but I mean, because you cover media, these Oscar campaigns are cutthroat. They are brutal. The sort of whisper campaigns that go on to drag down movies and performances, to elevate other movies and other performances. It's rough out there. And I think that what we're seeing on a lot of this is a function of that too.
Yeah. I mean, certainly, right. There's an element of these sorts of there is sort of the social game element of it that's been part of Oscars campaigning for a while, and you inevitably everything that could be every film that's ever been perceived as a front runner at some point has had some sort of narrative emerge, whether valid or not, to be like, hey, maybe cast them down on this, or maybe this isn't worth celebrating. Like, it always happens, but it is just unfortunate the way it's sort of mounted this year, the way it's all played out. I mean, I think, like, what bums me out on another level is just that these award shows, to really bring it back to, like, Queerties and stuff in general, these are all meant to be celebratory moments.
Right.
And so, again, it's tough that we have this it's tough that we have something that's, like, now holding us back from being able to fully celebrate queer film within the realm of the Oscars. But I think of, like, not to completely feel like I'm shifting topics, but I think of like the Grammys this past weekend. That was such a great show. It was such a fun show. It felt so celebratory, and you literally felt community there, and you felt these emerging, a lot of them queer artists getting their shine, which was really cool. And that to me just points to like why we need award shows and things like this. Now more than ever, to use that phrase, is just like these are just moments for us to be able to celebrate and continue to shine a light on these people who are doing really exciting work. So I'm hopeful that despite everything, and I do mean everything going on every level, like something like the Queerties can just feel like this moment where we're really able to see all that the queer community has done in this past year, and I've said it so many times, but just celebrate that. Right. It's great to be able to have that opportunity.
And I can't help but notice that a lot of the Queerty nominees also are in line with the Grammy nominees. How about that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of recognition of some similar artists there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is very nice.
We sort of always pat ourselves on the back with that sort of thing, like our breakout musical artist category, for example. I mean, Chapel was nominated in that category a couple years ago, right after Pink Pony Club first broke. Doechii was nominated in that category a couple years ago. I like to think that in some senses the queer community is ahead of the curve that way. We see these artists, and we're always, I think, especially within the pop realm, we're often the first to really get behind and support them. And so I guess with that in mind, I would just say, take a look at the awesome breakout musical artist category nominees this year. Even if you don't know them, get to know them, because a lot of them are going to be all over the place in, we'll say, 3 years' time.
Great.
So,
I mean, that's exciting. Now go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say, we're probably going to bring up the same thing. So there is another bit of controversy in the Queerty nominees this year. And Romaine has strong thoughts about the nominees for podcast.
Yes. I'm going to tell you, I don't see Derek and Romaine listed in this category.
Oh.
And
wow.
I'm not going to lie, Cameron, I'm a little disappointed. And maybe it's because we are not just Derek and Romaine. We're an entire network that curates LGBT content. I'm not sure why we have not been nominated yet, but I think we've been overlooked.
It feels like a glaring oversight, I would say.
Right?
But I'll add, if you're in line to vote for Derek and Romaine, stay in line. Something is off. Something is off there.
But
we're definitely going to look into this.
So let me ask you about this, because I am kind of curious. How do you guys come up with your nominees? Like, what is the process?
That is a fantastic question, and it is a kind of
this way Derek and Romaine know what we need to do.
Process. Yeah. Well, I'll give you my address so you can send the money there.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
I'm joking. We have when we talk about the Queerties, we're not just talking about when we talk about Queerty, we're part of a media organization called Q Digital, a small but mighty media organization that has multiple sites in our portfolio. So there's Queerty, there's Into, there's LGBTQ Nation, there's Gay Cities, and there's Outsports. So we have editorial staffs within each of those, and then we also have our marketing team and there, multiple different departments within the company. So honestly, the way that we start doing this is many months back, we start just polling internally and asking our staff to weigh in on what they've been watching and listening to every given year. As a Queerty editor myself, I do a lot of extra digging into what we've been covering and what coverage has done well within our site over the past year. And we also, at various points in time, put that out to and monitor what our audience is telling us they're watching and listening to. So there isn't a huge system to it. It is sort of this ongoing conversation that we have up until the end of the year prior, where as a staff we're kind of looking through and calling and trying to find a crop of nominees that feels like it genuinely speaks to what we know our audience is engaging with. So that's the best way to put it, I would say.
Sure, no, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
what
right,
you're
well,
saying is I need to convince someone over at Queerty to write about us a lot and to listen to our show and then make all their friends listen to our show so that we're on your radar. Is what I'm hearing.
Yes,
We need
I
to
think
be
we're off
on
the
your
radar, Romaine.
Okay, all right.
You are. I mean, I was going to say, well, you're on the phone with one of the right people.
Right. Well, that don't think that I'm not motivated for all the wrong reasons. Yes, Cameron. I will tell you, years and years and years and years ago, we had one of was it the editor of Out Magazine, Derek? Yeah, we had the editor of Out Magazine on our show, and I said, why have we not been nominated for an Out 100? And then he was like, you know what? I've made a mistake. And guess what? We got nominated. It was great. It made me very, very happy. So, just saying.
That's why Romaine is the muscle of this organization.
Listen, lesbians get things done, Derek, and you know it's true.
Making a note of this, we will say, and something slipped through the cracks. Though.
I mean, we have won the best LGBTQ podcast in the podcast awards 5 times. Just saying.
Yeah.
So,
of course.
I mean, I kind of think we know what we're doing.
Incredibly deserved. Yeah. Of course.
Well, but I will say, in Cameron's defense, in this space, there is an embarrassment of riches.
There really are.
There is a lot
That's
of
true.
great LGBTQ audio content that is out there. And so, it is it is tough to narrow it down because there are a lot of options out there.
And I will say, because I do look at the Queerties every single year, Cameron, and I do look at the podcast category in particular. And one of the things I love about this particular category is that it is not always the ones you expect to see, right?
Like Derek and Romaine.
So, well, no, but I will compare it to the podcast category that, say, the GLAAD Awards do. And when I look at that, it's filled with celebrity-driven podcasts and not any smaller podcasts that are maybe hosted by lesser-known people, but that are very, very popular. And so this is something I do like about the Queerty Awards is that I feel like you are going to get some of those very, very popular with the fans, but not necessarily because it's hosted by a celebrity or a celebrity is attached to it. I mean, granted, there's plenty of room for that at the Queerties, but in this particular category, I do like that it's not all about that.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I know that it's very intentional in terms of how we want it to feel like the topics covered even within the podcasts that are nominated are diverse. I mean, we have some that are about sports. We have some that are more drag focused. We have some that are more like sex and love and advice focused. We have some news and politics. Like, I think that the idea is that it feels like there's something for all listeners there.
Yeah.
But it is true that there's just so many great queer podcasts out there. I mean, have you ever met a queer person who didn't want to immediately, if a mic is set in front of them, want to immediately share their story? Like, it's, it makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't need our Trash Yell podcast, Romaine.
You know what, Derek? I think we've just been around too long. I think that people are just like, oh, those two. Oh, Jesus.
Great. Well, we're seconds away from moving into a Lifetime Achievement Award category. I feel it.
Yeah, I think we are.
That's very upsetting.
I'll say, maybe you guys are the Beyonce of the podcast world, and it just is like, you're there, and we love you, and we're always throwing you accolades, but it's like, for some reason, the elusive, your time will come. I mean, one day it's going to come and it's going to be incredibly disturbed.
Yeah, I think we're much more in a Betty White category at this point of like,
Betty
Jesus
White.
Christ, you've been around for 75 years.
Yeah, we have.
It's a shame. All right. Well, Cameron, I wish you and Queerty 75 more successful years of the Queerties Awards.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time
to
to join us today.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the opportunity, and I guess just worth noting again that the voting is open until February 25th, and you can vote within every category once every day. So,
nice.
I talked about those fans making their voice heard. Like that's how you do it. You just kind of, set a reminder on your phone every morning to get in there and vote for your favorites if you want to see them win. You can move the needle for sure. So,
absolutely.
But thank you for this opportunity. It's been so fun chatting with you both.
It's been great talking to you too.
All right. Our thanks to Cameron Scheetz for being with us. He is an editor over at Queerty, covering TV and movies. And you can check out the Queerties. As he mentioned, the voting is open now at queerty.com/Queerties. And of course, you can also follow them in social media. They are Queerty on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Queerty. Why? Because you're on Derek and Romaine. Well, there you have it. The end of another perfect episode of Derek and Romaine. And if you want more great fun, go to dnrstudios.com and subscribe to get our show every day. And don't forget, for DNR Plus subscribers, you can use the DNR Cast app for iPhone, available now in the App Store.